Okay, let's see, we are all systems go over here, and we are sponsored by A.B. Spry for Nachas from his entire family, by Michal Avram Chavin. By the way, we're going to be looking for a sponsor for Bava Basra, the biggest Masechta in Shas, 176 blot. So that's still $1,000, 176 blot, a bargain of the century. If anybody's interested, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Remember, Rabbi say you're all the ambassadors to get people to come for Thursday night when we start Masechtas Bava Basra. It's an opportunity really of a lifetime. It really is. Get people to start with us. We want to welcome over here in the shul, Barish Kesselman, Gedalia Engel, Michal Avram Chavin, and we want to welcome in Ruvain Shannon, and here on the board over here, we want to welcome in Irving Fishbaum and Dr. Block, Eddie Chazan, the one and only Eddie Chazan now. Who knows where he is? I think he might be somewhere near Stalingrad. Aaron Swade, Shalom Fogel, Nachman Chapler, Saba, and Yisrael Fisher, coming to us from Tannersville. Moshe Lehman, Avram Rezepkowitz, Yitzi Muller, Ilya Shutman, Naftali Jablon, Chaim Kramer. We miss you over here, Chaim. We miss Avram Rezepkowitz also, who is not with us tonight. We welcome in David Helpscott on Kol Lashon. We are holding over here ahead.
I have a shower to ask from yesterday's shift. Because you're in a hurry, so I don't want to bother.
I'm in a hurry. 6 lines. I have a chok tonight. I'm in a hurry.
I think half a minute.
Yes.
You said about how you're supposed to eat the meat when you roast here and there. If you this way or that way. What were the Kehanim? They're supposed to watch over on that.
You know how many thousands of Korban Pesachs there were?
But do you know how many Kehanim were?
No, the Kohanim were busy with taking care of the Korban Pesach. This is later on when they were roasting it. They could roast it in their house in Yerushalayim.
We're talking about it in Beis HaMikdash.
No, but it's not in the Beis HaMikdash. They didn't roast it in the Beis HaMikdash. They roasted it at home.
On the home.
Right? Now, 6 lines from the top of Kuf Tez Zayin Amud Aleph. So the Gemara says, Tanya Kavasi to Rabbi Yehuda, we have a brisa like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda holds that you're not chayiv for the a lav for ki nefesh u'chayvel. You're only chayiv a specific lav for taking the security, the mill, which is, since it's 2 parts, you're chayiv 2 lavim, one for the rechayim, the bottom, the base, and one for the rechev, the one that rides on top of the base, but you're not chayav for nefesh u'chayvel. So Tani Kavasi Rabbi Yehuda, we have a brisa like Rabbi Yehuda, chaval zug shel safarim. If you took as security a pair of barber scissors. Now this doesn't mean 2 scissors. It means their scissors came in 2 pieces. The blades were 2 pieces and they were put together. Now even though they operate as one, but since they're 2 pieces like the mill also operated as one, but since it's 2 pieces, rechaim and rechev, you're chayiv a separate lav. So chavel zug shel tzaparim and semed shel parais, a yoke for the cows. Now this is not talking about the cows, because you can't take. This is, Ilam has to make sure they're muted. This is not talking about the cows. It's talking about the yoke. The yoke was made of 2 pieces, and that's no joke. V'tzemed shel paras chayiv shtayim. you're chayiv 2, because the scissors is 2 pieces, each one an independent keli, and the yoke comes in 2 pieces, each one is an independent keli. Zeba atzmai v'zeba atzmai, if you only took as a security one part of the scissor, or one half of the yoke, then ain't a chayiv ala achas. But you see, you're only chayiv, even if you take the whole scissors, you're only chayiv 2, you're not chayiv for ki nefesh u'chayvel. The Tanya Yidich, we learned in another brayso, chaval zug shel tzaparim. If you took as security the 2 parts of the scissor, the tzemer shel paros, and the 2 parts of the yoke of the cows, I might think you only chayv 1, since it functions together as one utensil. You shouldn't take the bottom, the base, and the stone that rides on top of the base. It's 2 separate kelim. Even though it serves one purpose. You're chayv for the rechaim in itself and the rechav in itself. I've called vam shem shnei kelim miyuchadim, even though it's 2 distinct utensils, the 2 parts of the scissor or the 2 parts of the yoke. Even though it serves only one function, chayiv al zebef ne'atzma al zebef ne'atzma. You chayiv allow for each one separately. Now, as we welcome in Abe Arbach for our 16th Zoomer of the evening, I made a bracha already. Ahu Gavra. Now tonight when it says Ahu Gavra, it unquestionably is talking about Eddie. So Ahu Gavra, the Chaval Sakina de Ashkafta Mechavre. Shalom Fogel owes Eddie money, and so Eddie takes from Shalom a shoichet knife as security. Now, I'm going to learn, although there are those that learn that it's a butcher knife, I'm going to learn it's a shchita knife, because ashkafta is a lashon of death. Shachiv means to die. So it's a sakina da ashkafta. It's a knife that causes death. Also, the Kamid Abaya, so he came before Abaya, and Abaya, this is Eddie. He does first and then he asks, right? So, also the Kamid Abaya, Amalei Zilla Hadre, you better return it to Shalom. You had no right to take it. Why? That's a keli that, you need for your life's food, because you can't eat an animal without doing shchita. And then and then take Eddie to court. Take Eddie to court. Take Shalom to court. Shalom could deny owing money. Now, if he denies owing the money, so even though he's not chayiv a shvur daraisa, because he's not moed b'mixus, but he would be chayiv a shvur darabanan called the shvuas heses. The shvuas heses, he would have to swear. So the Gemara says, Rava says no. He doesn't have to take him to din, and Eddie could claim the value of the shchita knife. A shchita knife, a chalif, otherwise known, is a very expensive piece of equipment. And therefore, if let's say the chalif was worth $500, he could claim from Shalom up to $500. Why? Because he is a migu. He could have said he bought the knife, and that's why he had it. And therefore, why would he have to lie? And that's what Rava says. Rava Amalei Tzarech L'Mekim B'Din Allah V'Yachal Litain, and he could claim as the loan ad kedei demeyan, up to the value of the knife, because he has a migu. Malay l'shaka. Why would he have to lie? He could have claimed that he bought the knife because he's holding it. Says the Gemara, V'Abaya Lesle Ahi Svara. Abaya doesn't hold it at Svara. Maish Namano Izei. Why is it different from Shalom's goats, The achle chushla benarda. Shalom's goats ate Eddie's barley in Narda. Eddie gets around, One day he's in Orlando, and one day he's in Narda, right? So the Shalom's goats ate Eddie's barley. So Eddie came, and he grabbed the goats, and he claimed a lot of barley. And the father of Shmuel said, that he could ask for, how much goats? How much barley he could ask for? He could ask up to the value of the goats, because he could have said that he owes the goats. He bought the goats. So the Gemara says, yeah, that's different. Because goats is not something that people loan, and it's not something that people rent out. And therefore, what's it doing by Eddie? He could claim he bought it. So therefore, since he could claim he bought it, he could claim that the goats ate barley up to the value of the goats. But Abaya says, Eddie can't say that he bought the knife. Eddie can't say the fact that I have the knife is proof that I bought it, because people lend out a knife. It's something that people lend out or people rent out. And therefore, his possession of it is not proof that he bought it. And therefore, he wouldn't have a migu to say he bought it. So therefore, he can't be believed to say that, he can't be believed to say that Shalom owes him money up to the value of the knife. Now, we know this is true. The Shalach Rav Huna bar Oven, Dvarim o asiyim lahashil lahaskil, things that normally can be lent out or rented, and the person that possesses it says, I bought it, ain't an emet. So the Gemara says, but Rava also holds that way. The Rava Lesley Aisva, Rava doesn't hold that way. The Rava apik zuga desarbel of a safra da'agadita, Rava took away scissors that are used for a cloak and books of homiletics, miyasmei, from Yisayimim. And the Yisayimim claimed that they bought it because they're holding it. He took it away from them. Why? Because the fact that they possess this doesn't mean anything, because those are two things that you lend out. B'dvar ma'asi and lahashel lahasker. Says Rava, no, this is different. A shoichet knife, and this is one of the reasons why we don't want to learn it's a butcher knife, besides my etymological chiddush of ashkafta. We don't want to learn it's a butcher knife because the Gemara now says, Rava holds, a shchita knife is a very delicate piece of equipment. If it gets a little nick, if it gets a pigima, it's disqualified and it could ruin the shchita. And therefore, since it's such a sensitive instrument, people don't lend it and rent it out. Amalach Rava Hainami Kaven says the Gemara, just want to check the guess. Yeah, so interesting. It's a printer's mistake in the Gemara. In the Gemara it says Kavan de mi pogba. It's really one word. It should read Kavan de mifkama. Right? Isn't that interesting? Interesting how it's a printer's mistake in the Vilna Shas. Huh? You have an article? What do you have?
I have the digital.
You have the digital. It doesn't have it.
It's been corrected.
Yeah, it's been corrected. So Kevan de Mifkama, it really should be read as one word. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Cave on the mifkema, since it can get a nick and then be disqualified and disqualify a whole shchita, kapte inshe, people are makbid v'loy moishli, they don't lend it out. And therefore, if Eddie is holding it, he could have claimed that he bought it. And therefore, he's believed to say that Shalom owes him the money equal to the value of the knife, because otherwise, what does he have to lie? Why does he have to say Shalom owed him the money? He could just say that he bought the knife and not deal with Shalom having to pay him. Hadnu lach hamakabel, hadnu lach hamakabel, hadnu lach hamakabel. I don't know. Now, new parak, Rabbi Isai, final parak. It's really something. What a journey! What an absolute journey! We finish on Wednesday. It's really very exciting. I could honestly say of everybody that did this that you're heroes of the daf, literally heroes of the daf. 117 is Monday. 118 is Tuesday. 119 is, wow, 119 is a tiny little piece. Is Wednesday. Wow. Wow, it would be a good day for a siyum. It would be a good day for a siyum, but I really want to make Mark ask that we should wait for him, so maybe I'll come back one day from the country and make a siyum. You know what would be nice? We should make a siyum barbecue. That would be a nice thing. Siyum barbecue.
Canadian hot dogs.
Siyum barbecue. Yeah.
Make it upstate Thursday night, Sunday night.
Yeah, but it would be good for the people that are upstate, but the people here in the shul that are not upstate, that's we can't please everybody.
There's openings in Tannersville.
Yeah.
We're upstate too. Yeah, I got a lot of room in Chicago too.
Yeah. That is ain't that the way people are? Everybody thinks about themselves.
Right, so you meet in Philadelphia, but don't call Mark.
Yeah. No.
Where's Mark?
Mark is in Israel. He's coming back. He went for 1 week.
Grab that to see him right when he comes home.
So you're coming down here with your practice, right?
Yeah, the difference is that Mark travels to the Siyum. He travels an hour and 15 minutes to the Siyum.
For me, it's 14 hours.
Oh, thank you.
That is
I
wrong.
just saw your message. Okay.
You know, in the article, they have that word. They have it as a whole word.
Rabbi,
Yes. Yes.
the CU should really be in
In the English
Israel.
translation.
Yeah, halavai? Halavai. What?
In the English translation, that word,
Yeah. Yeah.
it is one word.
Yeah, I know that.
And here they have these
2 words. They corrected it. In the digital, they even corrected on the Hebrew side.
Surprising is Muhammad didn't catch it.
Okay. Now,
Art Scroll corrected it on the English side.
we just said that.
One
We
more.
just said that. Okay. And, okay. Ruvain, you must have been listening somehow because we just starting the new parak. Perfect timing. Were you learning with Joel? Oh, he's not around. I don't hear what he's saying. Okay. Now, so habayis va'aliyah shel shnayim, a house and an upper story that belongs to 2 people. So, since we've been doing very good over here, what happened to Eddie? He blacked himself out over here? Where is he? What happened to him? There he is, on top there. So, Eddie lives on the ground floor, and Shalom lives on the second floor. So Abayis v'aliyah shel shnayim shenaflu, and the house collapsed. So Shneim Cholkin, both of them divide be'etzim u'ba'avonim u'ba'ofer. They divide the materials. They built it together. So they divided the materials. They divide the wood, the stones, and also the earth. Now, Rashi says that if their height is equal, the first floor is 10 feet, and the second floor is 10 feet, so they divide it equally. In the event that the first floor is 10 feet and the second floor is only 8 feet, so they divide it proportionately. Shalom will get less because his height is only 8 feet. Now, V'roin, and the Mishnah then says, V'roin elu avonos ha'asuyos li'ishtaber. And we analyze whose stones would be likely to break. And the Gemara explains it depends how it fell. If it collapsed in its place, so that means the ground floor, the stones broke, and then the upper floor fell on top of it. So it's likely that the broken stones belongs to Eddie, who's on the ground floor, and therefore Eddie gets the broken stones. On the other hand, if a wind blew, a real vicious tornado blew down the wall, so then it's likely that the upper stones broke because they fell from a higher height. So then we give the broken stones to Shalom, and we give the whole stones to Eddie. Let's see it inside. V'royin elu avonim ha'asuyos li'ishtaber. And we analyze which stones are more likely to break. Mo Kushner, welcome in as with 3 lines from the top on Daf Kuftes Zayin Amud Beis. 3 lines from the top on Kuftes Zayin Amud Beis. If one of them recognizes some of his stones, for example, Eddie says, I see that this is my stone because on the other side of it I have a picture of my daughter. Right? It was a stone and there was a picture frame on it. So he knows that that's his stone. So Notlan, he takes that stone. We'll see the Maskana in the Gemara is if he was supposed to get 10 whole stones or 20 whole stones, so, and this is a whole stone, so we deducted from the amount of whole stones he's supposed to get. Now the Gemara will ask, so then what's the difference? The difference is that this stone might be a wider stone, or it might be, the clay might be better baked and more valuable of a stone. Now.
I think it's very, because you like to be there on time.
My Shalima, try to mute yourself. Okay. Now. Midiktani Royan, when it says that we analyze Michlal de'ika l'meikim alayu, we could figure out if it collapsed in its place, or if it fell to a distance. So if it collapsed in its place, it's probably Eddie's stones on the bottom floor that collapsed. If it was fell to a distance, it's probably the higher stones, Shalom stones, that collapsed. So then, Reisha Amai Cholkin, then the Reisha, why do we divide it? Nirze'i b'chavot nafel, if it fell at a distance, then Elisa Itbar, then it was the upper floor that broke, and they shouldn't divide it equally. Shalom should get all the whole stones. And Ibechavsa nafel, and if it fell in its place, Tatiyasa Itbar, then the bottom one broke, and then Shalom should get all the whole stones. Says the Gemara, "Leitzvicha de nafel belelia." It fell in the night. Says the Gemara, so what? In the morning when we get up, let's see where the wall is. V'lechzinya b'safra. Says the Gemara, the paninu, they already cleaned it up. Says the Gemara, but let's ask the ones that cleaned it up. V'lichzei man paninu. V'lishayla, let's ask them. Says the Gemara, the paninu b'nei Rishis Harabim, it was cleared up by people walking in the Rishis Harabim, and they put it on the side, and we don't know who they are. Alma. So now the Gemara says, but why don't we shtel zichan chazaka? Let's see in whose property it fell into. And if it fell into, let's say, Eddie's property, Eddie should be the mozik, and he should get all the bigger stones, all the whole stones. And then Shalom would be a mitzvah mechaver. Says, well, it fell into a courtyard that's owned by both of them. Inami b'rishas Ram, or it fell into rishas Ram, so neither had a chazaka. The Iba is saying, you know why they both own the house? Because they bought it in partnership. And since Eddie and Shalom are partners, stuff that is in Shalom's property is not considered a mozik, because it's frequent that Eddie puts things in the property of his partner, and Shalom puts things in his property of his partner. So therefore, it's not considered a chazaka one on the other. So that's the Gemara's other answer. The Gemara says, Iba Yasema, the shutfin ki agavno loikopte adadi. They're not makbid because since they're partners in everything, they keep stuff in each other's courtyards, and therefore it's not considered a presumptive status that it belongs to Eddie since Shalom keeps things in his property all the time. If one of them recognizes that it's his, so then he gets it. So that if Eddie says it's mine, he gets it. Now, what does Shalom say? Eddie says it's mine. What does Shalom say? Either kamer in, if Shalom says, okay, pshita, then that's obvious. V'iloi amar in, but if he says, no, it's not yours, so then why does Eddie get it? Lamanaita. It must be that Eddie says, I'm sure, and Shalom says, I don't know. So the Gemara says, so what we're saying is, Bari V'Shema, Bari Adif. Since Eddie is sure, and Shalom says, maybe, so Eddie wins the day. So the Gemara says, let this be a refutation of Rav Nachman. The Itmar, Monoli biyadcha. Shalom tells Eddie, you owe me $100. And Shalom says, I don't know. So Ravun and Rabbi Yehuda Imrei Chayiv. Ravun and Rabbi Yehuda say that Eddie gets it, because that's a classic Bari V'Shema Bari Adif. Rav Nachman, Rabbi Yochanan Imrei Potter. So according to Rav Nachman, even though Shalom says, I don't know, why does Eddie get the stones? Says the Gemara, Rav Nachman, it's talking about where there's a need to make a shvua, and since Shalom says he doesn't know, he can't make a shvua, that's why Eddie gets it. Where there's a need to make a shvua. Now, what's pshat? There's a need to make a shvua. Heichi dami esik shvua. Kiderava, like Rava. The Amar Rava mana li biyadcha. Eddie says, Shalom, you owe me $100. V'alaymer, and Shalom says, Ein lach biyadi el chamishim. I know 50. The other 50, I don't know. So that's a case of Maida B'mixas, because Shalom admits to 50. And since Shalom admits to 50, and he can't swear about the rest because he says he doesn't know, he has to pay. So here, it's the same thing over here. Eddie says, these 10 rocks are mine. and Shalom says 5 are yours, the other 5, I don't know. Oh, because Shalom says about the other 5, I don't know. Smoida b'mixus, and since he can't swear, that's why Eddie gets it. Now, we said if Eddie identifies 10 whole bricks as his, it counts in the calculation. He was supposed to take, let's say, 25 whole rocks and 50 broken rocks, and he identifies these 10 whole bricks as his. He takes these 10 bricks instead of 10 broken ones. In other words, he still gets his half of the whole ones, and now he gets these 10 extra whole ones. Alma, Kavan the Amr, Eini Idea, since Shalom says, I don't know, Reya Tfei, his position is weakened. Says the Gemara, well, that doesn't make sense. Amalei Abba Adarabba. Hareya Tfei. Eddie gets weakened, because since he only recognizes these ones, that implies the other whole ones should be Shalom's. Midahani Yada Tfeilo Yada Sulesla, you shouldn't get any of the whole ones. Vida Kula Reichman, we should award all the other whole ones to Shalom. Ela Amar Abaya, we say that if he identifies, each one is supposed to get 25 whole ones. If he identifies 10 whole ones, he gets those 10 whole ones and another 15. El Lefi Cheshbon Shleimus. So the Gemara says, well, if he's getting the same 25 anyway, what's the difference that he identified these 10? Like, what does it benefit him? Says the Gemara, as I explained when we learned the Mishnah, Lamal ben Aravcha, there are certain bricks that are more choice because they're wider. Inami tina de ma'abda, or the plaster is well needed, and it's a better, more solid brick. Now, by the way, Rabbi, I just want to let you know how this is going to play out tonight. We already did the Mishnah Yaimis, and right after we finish this, we're going to do a delicious chak of Tazria Day 2. So stay tuned for that. Chak tonight is being sponsored by Irving Fishbound. And Mitzvah Hashem, we already have a sponsor for the Chumash this week. Mr. and Mrs. Berish Gesseman are going to be sponsoring the Chumash here. Again, we are looking for a sponsor for Bava Basra. $1,000 for 176 blot. Unbelievable. Now, says the Mishnah, Habayis v'aliyah. So here, what happens is Eddie rents the top apartment on top of him to Ruvain. Ruvain leases the top of apartment from Eddie. Niftacha aliyah. Eddie's ceiling gets a hole. We'll see how big the hole is. And so, of course, Ruvain can't live in the upper floor if there's a hole in the ceiling. He doesn't like to fall through the floor. And the Ein Balabayas writes a Lisakin, surprise, surprise, Eddie doesn't want to fix it. Haribalo Aliyah Yerid V'dor Lamata. So Ruvain could go downstairs and live in the ground floor, kick Eddie out, tell him to go to Topeka, Kansas. Ad Shiyasakim Le'es Aliyah. until Eddie fixes the ceiling. Rabbi Yossi says Eddie isn't responsible for everything. Eddie has to put up the ceiling, but Va'elyon Ruvain has to put as hamaziva, the plaster over the ceiling that makes it solid for the floor of the second apartment. Now, the question now is, how big is the hole? Niftacha bekama. How big is the hole in the ceiling? So Rav Amar Beruba, the majority of the apartment. Shmuel says even ba'arba, even 4 tvachim, 4 by 4 tvachim. Rav Amar Beruba, Rav says only if it's the only time he could move downstairs and evict Eddie is only if it's the majority of the ceiling. Aval ba'arba, but if it's only 4 by 4 tvachim, then Eddie could put up a guardrail around the hole, so Reuven shouldn't fall in it, and he could give him 4 tvachim downstairs. Why? Because Adam dar chetzi lamata v'chetzi lamala. Eddie could tell him, look, I'll give you 4 tvachim downstairs to make up for the 4 tvachim that you're missing, and Reuven can't tell him, I don't want to live upstairs and downstairs. Shmuel says even if it's 4 tvachim, because ein adam dar chetzi lamata v'chetzi lamala. You can't make Reuven live yala v'yava. You can't make him go upstairs, downstairs. He's not sweet 16 anymore. Maybe sweet 20, but not sweet 16. So now the Gemara says, why does Eddie have these responsibilities? Hechidami, Id Amar Aliyazu. If he said to Reuven, I'm renting you this upper apartment, the upper apartment collapsed, and that's it. The lease is over. And Eddie tells Reuven, you have to pay me for the time that you spent in the apartment. You say I rented it to you for the year. Mazlach garim, your mazel caused it. Eladam alei aliyah stam. If he told him an upper apartment, so why could Reuven evict Eddie out of the apartment? Let Eddie rent him another upper apartment. Let him rent him another upper apartment. This upper apartment shani maskelach that I'm renting to you, ki solka solik bada. When it goes up, you go with it. V'chinachis, if it goes down, chus bada, you go down to the bottom apartment. So the Gemara says, then then that's obvious. Notice, when we make contracts, we're very careful with yitur loshen. We read the fine print. We're very careful with extra language. So Eddie said to Shalom, this upper apartment that's on top of this house, I ask it to you. Now, since he said this apartment, he didn't have to say that's on top of this house. The reason why he's saying is on top of this house, he therefore subjugated the house to the upper apartment if something will happen to the upper apartment. Like Rabban Baravada said, in the name of Rabbi Yitzchak, what happened was, Mel told Shalom, Dolis shal gabe parsik zeh ani meichela. The vine that's supported by this peach tree, I'm selling you. Now, v'neker parsik, the peach tree got uprooted, or bo ma'isel ifnei Rabbi Chia, and this incident came before Rabbi Chia. The Amar, and he says, Mel has to go to a nursery and get a peach tree to support the vine. Chayiv ato lahamed like parsik. He has to put a peach tree there to hold up the vine. Calls man shadolas kaima, as long as the vine is vibrant, as long as the vine is intact. Okay, Rabbi, so as I said, we finished the Mishnah Yomis. We did the Mishnah Yomis already earlier. I'll put it on later tonight because now we're going to learn a chak, and we'll see you again tomorrow at 5 to 9. And Richard Rosenzweig is joining us, so I'm glad he was able to figure out how to get onto Facebook. And remember, again, the passcode to get onto Zoom.com, Zoomdaf.com is 914408. And we need the green screen now, and we're going to be learning the chak. Have a good night, everybody.